So, good morning. We are here with Aaron Begay, and I'll let Aaron introduce himself. This is Transformation Thursdays, and we are just talking with community members about how they handle challenging situations in their lives during these very interesting times.
Um, Hello. Yatish ke dosh dene eshe a erambige inishia. Adone in shinigi a atsui nishla, batani bashichi, ashlishi dashiche, tochi dashijunale. Hello everyone, my name is Aaron Begay. I am 18 years old. I'm a recent high school graduate from the Native American Community Academy. So, yeah.
Fabulous alum, previous Mr. NACA, and just a wonderful, wonderful resource for students and staff, and a bright light, bright light. So thank you for joining us today.
Of course.
And we just have 4 questions, and I know you've had some time to think about these questions. The first one is something that's been an obstacle for you.
Something that I feel like has always been an obstacle for me is more finding a good way to be able to express myself in both healthy ways and ways that will overall benefit me in the long run. Because most of the decisions I made were something I struggle with have just been more short term and have been more like decisions in the moment. But I feel like having a good balance where I could have a long-term plan or long-term solution to something that is an obstacle for me has always been somewhat of a hard decision for me to make for myself. And making decisions for myself that would help me and benefit me has always been a big obstacle, because I always try to put others before myself, and I feel like that is both a good and a bad habit. It would just depend on the context of it, but yeah.
I like the way you express that, and that's hard for a lot of us to do, is really looking at the big picture and long term and what's best for everyone, including ourselves. And sometimes that's really difficult, especially when you're a really thoughtful and caring person. It can definitely be challenging.
Mm-hmm.
If you visualize your life without that obstacle, what does that look like?
I feel like my life would reflect a lot of the people around me more so, because the environment that I grew up in, it was very supportive. I was very lucky to have that and everything. Very supportive of everything that we chose to do, whatever interests that we took. They would try to elevate it and stuff like that. I feel like if I didn't have the obstacle of having that hard time making decisions for myself, I feel like my life would really reflect of my grandfather's. My grandfather was a very independent individual, and any decision that he saw that would benefit him and his family, he would take it immediately. And I feel like that this specific obstacle doesn't really hold me back too much from having a good future or having good decisions made for myself and for my family. But I feel like my life would reflect his how his life was, just having the free will to be able to make decisions and go with anything that he saw that was of interest to him, and just running with it, and being able to make careers out of every interest that he had.
And not be torn, really believe in his decision and just go with it.
Yeah.
How can you address this perceived obstacle?
I feel like for me, it's more of a process, because I have gotten a little bit better of making those decisions for myself that would benefit me in a healthy way. And I feel like I've been able to grow from that, being able to make my own decisions and trying to benefit me in the long run, especially now that the fact that I am completely out. I'm not really ashamed of being uh, having that ability to express myself. I'm fully out as a trans male, so I feel like that really helps, like not only like my confidence, but also helps me with making those decisions for myself. Because every choice that I've made for this whole past year has led up to another thing that was coming up in my journey. Starting testosterone led to me getting my new ID with my new name, having the name change. Having the name change led to me getting the rest of my documents filled out and changed with my new name. And that also led into talking about surgery, like different surgeries that we'll possibly want to get. And it's crazy for me to think now that in less than a week now, about 5 days, I'll be getting my surgery done. And that's just crazy for me to think. And it's great just knowing that like it's flowing, and I'm able to like feel completely good and confident with the decisions I've made already. And just like the fact that it's so close and that I've made it this far, being able to not only like made it this far in my journey, but also made it this far as a person and growing and living in my decisions and not regretting anything about them.
That's huge. And you've pretty much answered the fourth question. If you choose to live the life that you envisioned, what changes? So maybe just expound on that a little bit more.
I feel more, I have to say, more empowered, being able to live in my decision and seeing not only what could have happened with my decision and what didn't happen. I feel like a lot of people make decisions that they feel will benefit them in the long run, whether that be the choice to go to college, whether that be the choice of getting some type of procedure done at a young age. I feel like more people think about how it will benefit them or how it'll change their life in the moment more than thinking about what could come in the future and all the different possibilities that could in result happen because of that. Most people are okay with it, with decisions that they make. Others, they think about it, they dwell on it. But I don't think that any of the decisions I've made so far with me and my journey, I feel like I wouldn't regret it or I wouldn't dwell on it too much. And I don't know if that's more because it's a benefit for me. And this is honestly probably one of the most self love and like beneficial things for myself that I've ever done. And it's crazy for my mind to think that since I'm doing something for myself, I've always seen that as selfish, like being able to do things for myself, being able to spoil myself with specific things. And I don't really like spending money on myself too much. Like you can ask any one of my friends, I'm very cost efficient because I don't see the use of buying something that I would use for myself. I see more use in buying things for others that would be used every day, something that would be beneficial. Every decision that is made has to have a logical explanation. That's how I always used to think, and just thinking, okay, well, what if I buy this or if I get this, then how is that going to help this other person? But now just having the ability to love myself to the point where I don't see doing things for myself as selfish is just a major growth point for me. And living in my decision I've made for myself right now, I have never seen it as selfish. And I feel like that's major growth for me, not only as a decision maker, but as an individual.
Being true to yourself and how important that is. Wow. I really appreciate what you said. And I love it that you connect your life-changing decisions with long-term and big picture, and not just short-term snap decisions or whatever. I love that. So this is your life moving forward. Challenges, you barely even brushed the surface of some challenges that you faced and that you are constantly working toward being true to yourself, even though sometimes it's hard to put yourself first, I think you mentioned, and but that it's important for your growth as a human being and as a man. So beautiful. Anything else you'd like to add?
I feel like this is more for younger people of the community at NACA and everything, because for me, one of the major things that I feel like NACA has really helped me is like not only with like self-discovery and self-love and my identity, but it's also helped me like kind of find myself in a way. And I know everyone says this every interview that includes NACA alumni or anything that involves like teacher or staff. I've always heard the same thing, that like NACA has such a life-changing like environment because of the community that we have there, and oh, it's helped me so much about this and that and this. But honestly, it's more of a process, and I feel like a lot of people don't really talk too much about the process that comes with it, that comes with the growth. Because for such a long time, I saw specific things that I do now as a bad thing because of the community that I grew up in. The community that I grew up in was more, how do I say this? It was more closed-minded than open-minded, and just being thrown in an environment that is so open-minded and so accepting, it was more not only like a culture shock, but it was more like I wasn't used to it. Just having the ability to freely talk to someone about how I'm feeling, freely talk to someone about how I identify. Finding myself has always been one of my most like biggest perseverance, because I don't want any of the, whether they be incoming new people to NACA, or if my younger classmen ever feel like they can never fully express themselves. I don't want them to feel like that, because self-expression is so important, not only for your further growth as you are at NACA, or whether you decide to leave or not. It doesn't matter. Self growth doesn't always have to stay at NACA. It can be introduced. It could be any process, any start of the process, the beginning, middle, or end. You could be at any stage, but I feel like NACA's always been there to kind of nurture that growth. Whether we realize it or not, I feel that it's an environment where we can safely grow, mostly without judgment. And I feel like that's a very powerful thing to think of. So.
And yeah, whether you're at NACA or wherever you go, you take that with you. Mm-hmm. And believe in yourself. Be true to yourself. I love that. And actually, this is, I don't think I introduced myself. I'm Miss Tia Hopkin. And I'm using Maggie's computer, so that's why it says Maggie C, right? Aaron, thank you so much. We appreciate you. I know you have a busy afternoon, so thank you for taking the time to talk with us, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.